Namaste, this is Binu Kurian, the host for the show Dream to Destiny, wherein I bring in successful personalities in front of you to make you dream and you all sail across to reach your destiny. Today I have a wonderful guest. Her name is Ridhima Arora, founder of Namya Foods based out of New Delhi. And she is a motivator, she's an inspiring personality, she's a fighter. That too in pandemic, she was able to turn around a new startup company and make a profit of 1 crore for the last 1 year. It's not a big achievement, but it is an achievement for a startup company. Let us hear what Ridhima, the founder of Namya Foods, has to say about this inspiring journey. Welcome to show, Ridhima. It's very nice to have you. My pleasure. How are
Thank
things
you so
there?
much for
How are,
inviting me.
how are things? How are things there with you?
Extremely good. I think everything is going in the pace that we thought it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think things are getting better. I think more from a pandemic perspective, I think things are getting better for everybody in that.
Very. Well,
Yeah.
because I've been following you for quite some time. You seems to be very positive, and like I said in my introduction, you seems to be an young lady who having an unbelievable spirits, and you are with the startup here for the since 2019. So once again, welcome to Dream to Destiny. My name is Binu Kure, and I invite people like you to share your, inspiring stories to dream and carve or travel to their own destinies. That is what my show is all about. And the first question to you, Ridhima, it's like and I understand that you're from Jammu and Kashmir. And can you just tell me about your family, your education, and your professional journey so far?
So I did my initial years of schooling in Jammu. And we are a very small family with my father, my mother, and my younger sister. My father's been into business for a very long time. And I think whatever business we've learned, I think it's something that we've learned over a period of time from him, because I think it was something that we saw each and every day while growing up. While my sister's a lawyer, she also has a small startup that she does. So I think as a family, I think entrepreneurship was something that was very naturally ingrained. But having said that, yeah, I am a BTech and an MBA. And I then went on to do, a brand management job for about 4.5 years before I finally decided that I really wanted to get into Ayurveda.
Okay, great. So, what made you to get into this sort of business? What was your, why Ayurveda?
My father's been into Ayurvedic herbs. Actually, my father, not my father, but my grandfather was into Ayurvedic herbs. And he built a very strong foundation of getting and procuring the raw material from the villages. There is this heritage of network that he has with Hakims and Veds throughout Jammu and Kashmir. But having said that, nobody in the next generation sort of took it very seriously. And when in 2018, my father was suffering through liver cirrhosis, I think that just became like a trigger for me to understand that there was this huge gap in the market where, not a lot of people understand that, health is so simple. Health is something that can be saved, that can be prevented with eating the right kind of food. How we say that, every disease starts at the gut.
Okay.
It's actually true. As long as you are keeping your diet healthy, there's absolutely nothing that can happen to you. But sadly, our lifestyles, they have changed. The way we eat, the way we look at food, in dissections of carbs, proteins, and fats. I think all those things, So I really felt that there was this great wisdom that we had as a family that nobody was really using. And I came from a marketing background, so I had interest in health. I had good understanding of Ayurveda, and I did understand brand management pretty well because I belonged to that segment. So I thought that there's nothing better that can be done than creating a brand which is an Ayurveda. Also because I think in a way I'm very connected to all this. So there was this a sudden let's just say right time, right place, and right thought of wanting to amalgamate Ayurveda and my interest and the family heritage that we had into a brand called Namya. So I think it just fell in place at the right time.
Right time. So the trigger was that your father became sick and you tried to venture out go back to your ancestors' skill and knowledge, and you wanted to bring it to the public. You understood that there's some cure, and it's a curative. Are you working on a curative or a preventable? Are you trying to sell curative medicines, or how does
You
it
know,
happen?
so when I decided to get into this market, I took about 8 months only to research the segment.
Mhm.
And while we have these big and very respected brands like Himalayas and Unanis,
Yes.
who are doing, I think they are doing very amazing job in
Mhm.
whatever products they're
Mhm.
doing. But
Correct.
when we further drill down to why Ayurveda market is a small market and it's not growing as much as allopathy is growing, because
Mhm.
logically Ayurveda should grow more than allopathic medication, right?
Correct. Correct.
And we figure out that people who have a certain issue are very hesitant to go towards Ayurveda, right? So that market is very small only because people who already have disease don't want to rely for their cure on Ayurveda.
Mhm.
So we said, okay, if that's not the place where people trust the brands a lot, then might as well shift our perspective a little
Mhm.
and see where people get some issues, but at the same time, uh, they know that if they have this XYZ product, they might just get saved from graver issues in life. So I think we were very clear that there are these. See, any disease takes about 5 to 10 years to become a major issue, right?
Okay.
And if you can observe your body well and
Mhm.
figure out that there's some issue that's happening in your body, like a lot of people have fatty liver, right? But how many
Yes.
of them really think to feel that fatty liver might convert into liver cirrhosis, unless it
Okay.
actually does. So the
Mhm.
idea was that we will
Mhm.
sort of cater to the preventive healthcare segment where people are having these little issues that they're
Mhm.
ignoring. So the idea is to create that category, give awareness that
Mhm.
if you have that issue, you might as well take something that can prevent you from going to a bad state.
Mhm.
And then creating a brand where we could sit in the preventive healthcare segment and say, if you have
Okay.
issues, come to us.
Okay. So did you identify the products that you want to sell before you went? How did the business plan happen? Because I know you're a startup entrepreneur, you got tasted success that too in pandemic. How did all this journey started? You said there was a trigger from your dad. Disease was, then you've been going to the hospital. Then you understood the challenges in the hospitals, getting and maybe you're also very bold enough to say that financially we're not affected. But then many of us, somebody getting diagnosed with the liver cirrhosis or the financially they are also got stuck. A lot of advices comes in the mind, and
Absolutely.
isn't it? And you realize that that's your calling. That's what I understood from where
Yeah.
you following you. You realize that there's a calling that I have to bring it. That is that right? Is that my understanding right? Is that
Oh
the
yeah, absolutely. So I think we experienced everything that happens in the medical ecosystem firsthand.
Mhm.
And luckily, financially, we didn't have a lot of restrictions because we could afford the medical treatment that was happening.
Mhm.
But along with that, I'm somebody who observes people a lot. And I was somebody who would, sit outside the OPD and see people and then, their life stories and whatever was happening. And I figured out that, it's just so difficult for majority of the country to afford the kind of medical bills
Mhm.
that you have to give in the hospital. And
Exactly.
I was amazed that these simple tricks that we knew from our childhood, about Ayurveda, how we say dadi ke nuske, desi nuske, we knew all of these things. But in metros and tier one, people really don't know a lot about it, and there was no structured method by which you could understand all this, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
even if somebody knew it,
Mhm.
right, there was
Mhm.
there was no way or no time that people had to sort of amalgamate and create these blends and have it in their regular life. And we said, this is
Mhm.
something that we understand very well. And imagine somebody having a heart issue, or imagine
Mhm.
somebody having a cholesterol issue,
Mhm.
right? So somebody who has to use our heart tea is
Mhm.
actually only giving 7 or 8 rupees a day,
Okay.
vis-a-vis a heart surgery which might
Yeah.
take 30, 40, 50 lakhs depending on which hospital do you go. And I
Exactly.
said, if these small things can really make somebody's life better, might as well do it. So I think it
Mhm.
was a very simple idea.
Mhm.
um,
Right.
and
And
then
did you when the simple idea was floated in, did you get the encouragement? Did you see that big giants are there? So how did that all business plan work out? Because you had this, you had to take a bold decision. Now you know that this was a calling. and you know where to start. The starting point. How did it all started? You have to put in somewhere. To start this journey. How did it all started?
Honestly, that time I had left my job very recently,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know how to start all these things, but I just started, preparing stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I would sit in the kitchen and do multiple iterations with Ayurvedic herbs. At
Mm-hmm.
the same time, I had, joined a couple of Ayurvedic courses. I was visiting a lot of hakims and beds that time,
Uh-huh.
who were based
Really,
in Jammu. So I was trying to leverage and,
the
get all
maximum
the
knowledge.
connections back that we had long back, and we had never gotten in touch with them. So I recovered and sort of discovered all those people that were in the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea was that, all these Ayurvedic practitioners who have immense knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
they don't pass it to anybody. They are not present on the internet.
Right.
And as they die, the wisdom and the knowledge that they have dies with them, because
Mm-hmm.
in the younger generations, nobody really carries forward their wisdom.
I understand.
So I think I did understand all of those things, and then we started, sampling a lot in Jammu and areas around.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very humble and a very small start. And honestly, I never had any revenue targets out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my first year just went into the fact that, can I do something that reduces your blood glucose level? Can I do something that reduces your fatty liver layer?
Mm-hmm.
Right, it reduces
Okay.
the fatty layer on the molecular level in your liver.
Okay.
Right, can I do something that reduces your thyroid levels, your T3 T4 levels? Right, so
Mm-hmm. Great.
I was more focused on doing that part of the work,
Mm-hmm.
and sending out products to people who I knew would give me very honest replies and reviews.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it started like that, and it continued like that for good 3-4 months. I mean, I really didn't know where it was going.
Mm-hmm.
The only idea that I had was that I wanted to, get out the best herbs to the market. I wanted to source the best material. I wanted to make the best product and, send it out.
Okay.
Once we started seeing results, once people started coming back to us and started saying, this is amazing. I mean, our blood glucose level has gone down, or our
Oh.
cholesterol levels has gone down, our blood
Mm.
thinning dosages have gone down. It's then when I thought that, okay, this is something that we need to scale up pan India.
Okay. Great.
So yeah. So I think technically we sort of started, nationally a lot later. It was
Mm-hmm.
almost 6-7 months after this testing and trials and pilot runs that we did in
Mm-hmm.
small pockets of Jammu and Delhi, that we sort of, then decided that, okay, this is what we really want to do. And the starting was a little rocky, because I lost a little, little money in retail. I didn't know how to pull off retail. I didn't have any sales guys, right? So I started very small. It was started with me going to retail shops and offering the products that we had made.
Yeah.
Lost a lot of money. Then decided that I wanted to do online, because I came from a digital marketing background and I
Mm-hmm.
understood that domain pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, maybe this is the low hanging fruit that I can
Yeah.
probably stick with.
Okay.
And the moment we started and launched the products nationally, the pandemic happened. So we waited for some time to see how the response was. And May we got good PR, we got good coverage, and people suddenly started buying products and
Mm-hmm.
getting good results.
Mm-hmm.
And parallelly, we were still in that phase when we were building infrastructure so that we could support so many orders. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it was just everything happening at the same
Happen.
time.
So, like I understand, a lot of things to happen. And do you remember what was your first initial investment that you put in for developing this infrastructure? And your, how much was? Should I ask you what was the initial investment from here to there? 1 crore you have touched, and I think what was the initial investment that you have started with the company?
So the initial investment was 36 lakhs, which was
Mm-hmm.
purely my savings.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so that's the infrastructure that we started with. Initially, I played a little smart, so I would not take people on my payroll, because initially it's a lot of blue collar work, right? It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of core work in the factory.
Yes.
So we would hire people, we would get them to work for us on the order basis.
Mm-hmm.
And I never had that fixed cost that I incurred every month.
Okay.
I started very small from my own home.
Mm-hmm.
uh, in a small room.
Acha.
And when the order sort of, went a certain level, then I shifted it to a different place,
Mhm.
where smartly I didn't pay rents for some time.
Mhm.
So I think, and I still don't have an office. So I think one good thing that really worked well for us was not incurring too many, operational costs initially.
Okay, so that was your because you didn't want to invest so much for initial phase that you want to slowly grow and I think that could be the main reason that you're not badly hit during pandemic, I guess, because you've got to invest a lot of money, then you would have got into trouble, I guess. That's my again
You
inference.
know, because in between there were these almost 60 days that I remember that we didn't have any work.
Yeah, lockdown,
The
lockdown.
logistics was closed, and we
Yes.
were only serving to, 2 3 retailers, like big retailers.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no revenue that time.
Yeah,
I mean, imagine having a factory running at
correct.
20%
I know.
efficiency.
Yeah.
You're gone for a task if you have a proper setup.
Exactly,
um,
exactly. Very true.
yeah.
And that was a very wise decision, maybe that you have taken. And I know the challenges you have gone through. What was your turning point in your business that you made confident that I should get into this business? It's going to give returns. The pandemic, the lockdown, everything was a big serious problem for everyone. So, what was your turning point? Did you have any turning point? The
there
first
was this
or
there was this one PR activity that happened for us, and that day we had almost 700 orders on the website.
oh, $700 is not a bad for a startup company.
Yes,
Is
and 700 orders in one night, and we were not even prepared to serve them.
Mhm.
And then, because I was very keen and interested to understand that if at all the product really has that potential, so I would, change my names just to say that I'm calling from customer care, Namya Foods, just to understand, what is the feedback. And when I started understanding the feedback, I think that was the time when I felt that, if because I've it's not that this is the first time I'm going into business.
Mhm.
I've been into a business before, in terms of the fact that I was managing marketing, so which also
Yeah.
meant that I was managing customer care and all of those things. And I knew that how customer care and how customer feedback is for other brands.
Mhm.
So when I understood that the customer understanding of the product is great and people are really appreciating, I think it's then when we felt that we really need to scale up.
Okay. Now the scaling has happened with that, I think, with a fund coming from outside, I guess, isn't it? Is that some venture capitalists have shared with you, or is just your own investments altogether?
It's no. So we took some time to decide whether we really wanted to get into a VC funding setup, and I
Mhm.
think we will definitely take it if we think we need it. But till now, there is absolutely no VC capital involved. There is no investor involved whatsoever. It's absolutely it's the money that we earn that goes back into the business,
Mhm.
right? So we are sort of working on a very conventional model.
Conventional model. So how many staff you have with you?
So we have about 12 people who are working with us now.
With us. That's all permanent staff, not outsourced staff, or you said
Uh,
as
So
all.
there are 12 permanent people, and then the outsourced staff.
Mhm.
But yeah, there are 12 guys on our payroll now.
Okay, great. Now, your objective, the company has been, phrased now, right? You said you want, earlier it was a little confused objective. What is now the objectives that you want to, not in the curative business, but then you want to preventive business, and you want to cater to maximum patients, or not, preventive. You want to preventive with Ayurvedic herbs. And
Right.
also you also have added up yoga also. That's what I was told. Is that right?
So we have nutrition coaching program,
Uh-huh.
which we felt that is very important to sort of carry on with the kind of work we do, because a lot of problems will not go unless you tweak your lifestyle.
Mhm. Yeah,
Right.
I understand.
While a lot of people will tell you that there are quick fixes, but essentially, you can't fix issues unless you change your lifestyle. So now we have a nutrition coaching program where we have, nutritionists sitting down with the patients, with the customers, and telling them what to eat, what not to eat, and what kind of lifestyle should they follow.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we did not touch yoga, honestly, because I think there are already too many players in this ecosystem.
Mhm.
Once we know that there is a differentiating factor that we have to offer, we'll definitely do. But I
Okay.
think right now, as we speak, we really don't have a differentiating factor to say that we want to be in the segment of yoga and also make our difference in a certain way. So I think we're yet to crack that area.
Crack that area.
Yeah.
Good. And just to my audience, would you like to say the products that you're selling from Namya Foods? I heard of cholesterol, your green teas, and a couple of them.
Yeah.
What are the products you're selling?
The product, there are right now 26 products in the portfolio, right? So which can be easily bifurcated into two parts. One is the preventive healthcare segment products, say a thyroid care tea, a diabetes care tea, a liver cleanse tea, something for heart, something for weight loss, something for cholesterol, something for your periods, and the other segment, which is the household segment, where we say that okay, you swap your regular stuff with this option and see the difference. So we have lattes, we have breakfast cereals in this segment, we have pre-mixes for milk in this segment, all essentially because milk powders is a great market, right? But it's filled with sucralose, fructose, and corn syrup and stuff like that. So we said that we will create something which has purely simple ingredients based in Ayurveda, has absolutely zero sugar, has no preservatives at all. There are two bifurcations right now in the segments that we're catering to.
All right. Now, my very important question, because I have been. Is it very expensive, or is it good for a common middleman thing? All your products.
While the products are somewhere around the range of 500 rupees per pack, right? But if you technically calculate how much it's costing per day, I always say that a breakfast cereal or a tea or a latte will hardly cost you 15 to 20 rupees a day, right? And I think that's not a lot when it comes to your health. So
okay, great. And it's only the deliveries, are you doing it for Amazon? Any other purpose? Suppose I want to take it to South India, how does it happen? I mean, just want to, for me, my audience, I'm just trying to, how does it happen? Only through Amazon, or do you have any other platform that we can have?
So we have the website, our own website, namyafoods.com, where it sells like a lot. It's the best platform to buy our products, also because it is directly controlled by us, like any other brand. Then it's obviously present on Amazon, it's on Nature's Basket, it's on Big Basket, it's on almost 18 to 20 platforms right now. But mostly online. So it's only now that we are pouring into the offline market. But anybody who's sitting in South India can easily buy it from Amazon, our website, and Big Basket.
Okay, great. Now, typically, how is your day, Ridhima? How is your day?
We never have, so if you ask any other entrepreneur also, we never have fixed days. But having said that, there are obviously a lot of busy days also. But I think now I'm in a position where I can hand over a lot of work and sort of keep myself a little free through the day, where I can think through, so I think right now my job is to think where in it, what way do we need to grow. So I think I'm feeding my vision a lot more these days also, because I think initially we didn't know how many people to hire. We didn't know a lot of things. I stumbled upon, did almost all the things myself. But I think now we have a team and there's more space for me to think and do creative stuff. So I think, so I think a typical day is, so we don't have any typical day. It's not a 9 to 6 job. There is some inventory that got stuck in some XYZ place. I am up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And maybe 1 o'clock in the night. So it's not really. I think it's part of life. And it's not a separate entity from my personality.
I think you're enjoying it.
Every entrepreneur understands that.
I think you're enjoying what you're doing. That is the crux of the discussion we are having, isn't it? Isn't it? And can you tell me the personalities you have got influenced to reach this level? Couple of personalities.
I'm not somebody who follows somebody very religiously. I feel that everybody has something to give to you. Right? If I'm sitting with you, I'm also observing you and understanding, how he operates. So I think I'm somebody who learns from everybody. I really don't have any, role models as such.
Any life journey when you're working, some influence in the sense, some good tips which you got from your study time, your engineering time, your medicine time, MBA time, or your working time, which you have taken it and tried to imply in your business. Any good
No, so
points?
I very strongly believe, and I think which is something that I'm still working on. So I'm an introvert by personality, and I'm not somebody who socializes a lot.
Achha, okay.
I'm somebody, who's who does my own thing, and
Correct.
I'm just into myself, and I'm not really looking into who's doing what, and things like that. I'm just doing my own thing.
Also,
But
okay.
of late, I think I've understood that networking is very important. And initially, I felt that I can't really network because I'm not that extrovert, or I'm not somebody who socializes well.
Understand.
But I think once you know yourself well,
Mhm.
there is a way you can talk to people
Mhm.
uh, in a way where you're not comfortable, you're not feeling out of place, and at the same time you can make them get interested in what you're talking about. So I think it's everything boils down to creating value for
Mhm.
yourself.
Mhm.
It's a lot more about how you can collaborate than what I can get from the other person.
Okay.
So I think once you change that mindset of collaborating and not really thinking what is in for me, I
Okay.
think the whole
Mhm.
ball game changes. So I
Okay.
think that's what I've recently
Yeah.
realized,
Yeah.
which
Very
is
good.
not what a typical business person will tell you.
I
So yeah.
understand. That's what I want to hear from you. It's very nicely answered question. And do you think any success mantra from you for any startup persons? That any? What do you think?
Um, so I think one thing that there's no see. I honestly feel that I'm not somebody in the position of success that can really talk about a success mantra. I think we've just begun, and there's a lot that we need to do.
Mhm.
But having said that, I have recently realized a few things. In anybody who's starting up and getting into a startup ecosystem,
Mhm.
there's a lot of reward value that everybody is getting.
Mhm.
There are interviews, there are podcasts, there is a whole ecosystem which is evolving around startups, right?
Mhm.
Which is a lot less about work and a lot more about your ideology and what you should do, what you should not do. And there are chances that you can get swayed by the glamour of all these things and forget
Understand.
the real work that you
Mhm.
do at the background,
Okay.
which by the way not very glamorous.
Yes, I understand. Understand. Yeah.
So I think you need. I think I've sort of understood it now after 1 year. Because initially I would just say yes to every and any interview that would happen, or anywhere I would be called, and
Mhm.
I felt that my time, which I
Mhm.
should rather give to my work, is just getting into things
Mhm.
which should not happen too early to
Mhm.
you, right?
Mhm.
You should
Yeah.
be able to spread your wisdom only after aggregating that much of wisdom, which I
Wow.
don't think, at least I am not in that position where I should be able to, give out so much wisdom. I think there's a lot that I have to do.
But I
So
think
I
you
think,
have, I mean, man, to make it a very short, I think you give a lot of information that, come in between our interview for, that your perseverance, you're trying, getting, understanding who you are, all these things that many people doesn't know who you are. Once you know that who you are, then the things become very easy, that
very
you
easy. But, people are so swayed by the external world these days.
uh
It's difficult to come in a position where you're not distracted by the external world and you know where you are.
I
So,
understand. I mean, the ground, humble
ground, and
nature.
these are not things that are for the intellectual people, that are for maybe somebody who's higher in the Maslow's hierarchy. I think it's in everybody. It's just that people are not wanting to explore that part. So
Okay.
yeah, I
Great.
think my suggestion would be to not really get into the fancy stuff that is surrounding the entrepreneurial journeys these days, and sort of focus on the work. Where
Okay.
I felt, in between, I sort of got distracted. But I think you get distracted, you come back to your work. So I think it's a journey. So yeah, my
Okay.
suggestion would be that.
It's a great journey Ridhima, along with Namya Foods, has ventured into to promote the natural way of healing. Let us all join hands in thanking her efforts, her startup, to bring happiness in her life. The mantra is be healthy. Thank you very much for Ridhima for joining with Dream to Destiny talk show with Binu Crane. Till we catch up, I wish once again all the best. Let India benefit with your small initiative, with your small startup. Thank you.